Good afternoon or good day again. We're here for the recap of our most recent Bible study, which was held last Wednesday, January 22nd. Now, I'm thanking you so very much for joining us. I thank all of you for the commendations, for all the praise and every good word that you said to us with respect to our Bible study. And I'm thankful that you are being blessed by our Bible study. Well, the objective really is for us to be in a place where we go and understand the power that is behind us when we go to obey that command. Last Wednesday we dealt with the mission, and the mission basically is to make disciples. One of the things we established from very early is that the duty of a Christian is not just to go. It does not end when you go. It ends when you make a disciple. So therefore it's a continuum really, and it's a cycle. You are not responsible, as we said earlier, for converts. God does that, but we are responsible for making disciples. So when you go, that is the evangelism that is being satisfied. But then to really obey the command, you have to make disciples. That's the second component, the second limb of that. And one of the things we recognize is that when you make, it's an action. And to make a disciple is to nurture and to bring that person to the place where they become a learner. So that all that you are, that person then becomes. They are a learner. And Christ was speaking to his disciples, and the next thing we understood is that he's not saying to them to do something that he did not do, because Christ himself made disciples. He took these 12 persons who were from all parts of the spectrum and not necessarily loved, but he took them, and by the time we come to the end of his journey here on earth, 11 of them were definitely disciples and ready to go on. That is what we are supposed to do. We're supposed to bring people into the church by the grace of God and have a program where they can be nurtured and be in a place where they themselves then can make disciples. Another thing we recognize is that if you're going to make something, it means it did not exist before. So therefore, you have to spend time with persons. They cannot just become disciples just because they're converted. We have to spend time with them. There was an interesting statistic we discovered from a survey from years ago. It says that if a person comes into a church, listen to me carefully, and they are converted, if that person finds only five friends, that person will stay. And I encourage you to go and search the YouTube for the Church of God Chelsea Road sermons, and look for the sermon that was delivered on the 10th of November 2024, and you will hear all about the number 5. It's a powerful number in the kingdom of God. It represents the hand of God. So just bear that in mind. We also realize that if you're going to go, since Jesus says to go, he's also saying to us that we already possess the skill sets that are needed. There's absolutely no way that Jesus is going to say to make disciples, go and make disciples, and we don't have the skill sets. So those persons that he was speaking to, the 11 disciples, because they spent 3.5 years with him, he's saying to them they have the skill sets to become disciple makers. I am saying to us, and from the Bible study, that we have the skill sets. If we spend time with Jesus, we have the skill sets to make disciples. Another thing we also understood is this, that Jesus, that same passage that we spoke about in the previous study, that all power is given unto me, so go, then that is also transferred to the making of disciples. The same benefits that the power given to Jesus has for us when we go, the same benefits it has for us when we start to make disciples. We have the fact that we can understand there's a support structure behind us. We understand that there's a divine authority necessary for us then to make disciples, It reminds us of the fact that Jesus himself did it. So if Jesus did it and asks us to do it, we can do it. And it also prepares us for what is ahead when we start to make disciples. It's not going to be easy, but we are prepared because all power is given. One of the other things we sought to do is to elevate making disciples to the point of an ordinance. That is interesting because we recognize that an ordinance has some components, and I will mention them quickly. One is that there's some kind of universality to it, that Jesus did it. Secondly, third, it is said for us as disciples to do it perpetually or in perpetuity. And fourthly, there's also a spiritual significance behind it. When we look at that whole command of making disciples and the action of making disciples, we realize that all four of those are satisfying. So therefore, maybe, just maybe, it should be elevated to the rank of an ordinance, and something that we have definitely to do in the church. And we recognize as well too that this was important to Jesus, because prior to this, he had pulled Peter aside, and for 3 different times he said to him, "Feed my sheep." And he's saying this to the head apostle to feed his sheep, because he recognizes that this road is not going to be easy, but he's given power, but someone has to take the lead, and he's saying to Peter, take the lead and feed my sheep. Go and make disciples. Thank you so much. But here's what's happening now. Wednesday coming, Wednesday the 30th, the 29th, Wednesday coming, what I want you to do for us is to go ahead and look at where we're supposed to make disciples, of whom we're supposed to reach, what we're supposed to teach them. And we're going to be ready for a Bible study for you. Invite your friends. The platform can hold 500, so invite your friends to come as well. God bless you. Look forward to seeing you on Wednesday.